This episode of Catch, Hook, and Shoot is dedicated to the memory of Jim Crockett Jr.
The Sky, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Zay, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
SCU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the best podcast you never heard of. My name's Tom. I am your host. Today is Sunday, March the 7th, 2021. It is the day of AEW Revolution. I'll get into preview and predictions a little bit later on in the show. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure to check out the website, catchhookshoot.com. You'll find everything related to the show, all of the podcasts, all the YouTube videos, interviews, photo gallery, the Catch, Hook, and Shoot shop, where you can get all the merchandise, like this shirt that I'm wearing right now. Catch, Hook, and Shoot, Chicago, Illinois, established 2017. So, head over there, check that out, pick up a shirt, pick up a hat, or just check out the website. And make sure to check out the Patreon page also. It's patreon.com/catchhookshoot. There's brand new bonus content up there for the month of March. Got to give a special congratulations to my buddy Cowboy Archie Coughlin for winning this month's trivia contest. So he picked himself up a free Catch, Hook, and Shoot t-shirt. Congrats, Archie. Also, check out the Pro Wrestling Tee store, prowrestlingtees.com/catchhookshoot. We've got 5 shirts over there that are exclusive to Pro Wrestling Tees. Can't find them anywhere else. And for links to all of that and more, head to linktree/catchhookshoot. You'll find links to all the podcast platforms and everything else. And if you ever want to send me an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. And once again, this week, starting off the show on another sad note, you saw right at the top of the show the 10-bell salute for Jim Crockett Jr. Passed away just this past Wednesday, March the 3rd. Jim Crockett Jr., of course, was the owner of Jim Crockett Promotions, which eventually became WCW, and just truly just a pioneer in wrestling. I mean, Crockett Promotions were the ones that did the first Starrcade, which actually preceded WrestleMania. The first Starrcade was in '83. That was the first real big, super show like that. So, Jim Crockett Jr. passed away this past week on March the 3rd. So rest in peace, Jim Crockett Jr. So let's get into our normal goings-on for this week, and we're going to start everything off like we always do with the match of the week. So the match of the week this week is coming from AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, and it was Jurassic Express taking on FTR and Tully Blanchard. Yes, you heard that right. Tully Blanchard coming out of retirement, wrestling his first match in God knows how many years, and he did not disappoint. I mean, obviously the man's 67 years old. He's not going to move around like he did in 1985. But, I mean, you had all the nostalgia stuff. J.J. Dillon accompanying FTR and Tully to the ring. FTR wearing the old NWA Tag Team Championship belts. Tully Blanchard wearing the old NWA United States Championship. I'm talking about the 10 pounds of silver. And, it was a great match. You had, they hit all the points that you wanted to see in this match. You had J.J. Dillon taking off his shoe and giving it to FTR to use against the Jurassic Express. You had Tully Blanchard hitting the slingshot suplex on Marco Stunt, which I thought was just fantastic. I popped so hard for that. It was unreal. And, FTR just getting the underhanded heel victory with Tully Blanchard getting the pin on Luchasaurus. I mean, it was a great match. It was fun, and yes, there was the nostalgia element, but Tully Blanchard can still go. I mean, he's 67 years old. Like I said, he's not moving around like it's 1985 anymore, but he went in there, he did his thing, and I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic match. So if you're only going to watch one match this week, make it Tully Blanchard and FTR taking on the Jurassic Express from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. So let's move into our next segment here, which is my top 3 highlights of the week, and that is the 3 count. All right, so first up on the 3 count this week is the backstage segment we saw on Monday Night Raw with Randy Orton, who's being interviewed and looking at some of the highlights from the previous week with Alexa Bliss kind of trying to summon the Fiend back, and we saw Alexa pop up on the screen again, and she had like a jack-in-the-box sitting in her lap and starts, turning the little crank, and then next thing we see on the screen is Randy Orton, or, supposed to be a doppelganger of Randy Orton, and, he starts talking and says Randy's going to come face-to-face with everything he's ever done, and then the Randy Orton who's being interviewed starts, like, choking and goes off screen, and, again, just progressing this storyline more and more with Randy Orton and The Fiend. I mean, this is really the longest term storytelling WWE's done in a while, because this has been going on for months, and I'm loving it. Anytime Alexa Bliss shows up on Monday Night Raw lately, it's one of the best parts of the show, in my opinion. Number 2 on the 3 count, we have a new WWE champion in Bobby Lashley. Finally got his match against The Miz after a lot of maneuvering and Miz trying to get out of the match. It was supposed to happen at the beginning of the show. It ended up not happening until the end of the show. It ended up being a lumberjack match, but long story short, Bobby Lashley is the new WWE champion. Little bit of a surprise. Not a surprise that he won the match, but just a surprise with all the movement in the WWE championship the last couple of weeks. With Miz cashing in, taking the title from McIntyre, then now Miz dropping the title to Bobby Lashley. I'm wondering where this is headed going into WrestleMania. There's a lot of speculation. Brock Lesnar is going to come back, and we're finally going to get that match between Lesnar and Lashley. Or could it be Drew McIntyre, getting his rematch for the championship? Could it end up being some type of triple threat with McIntyre and Brock, or McIntyre and The Miz? Or is Sheamus somehow going to be worked in there because of his issues with Drew McIntyre? There's a lot of different directions that this could go, and it's not real clear yet as far as what's going to go on with the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. But, we've got about 5-6 more weeks, so I'm sure we'll find out. And number 3 on the 3 count, Paul White, formerly known as The Big Show, made his first appearance in AEW on Dynamite this past week, and made a pretty big announcement. Said there's going to be a new signing taking place today at Revolution, and he said is a Hall of Fame worthy individual. And Tony Khan did confirm that it is a he, so it is a male, and it said it's one of his favorite wrestlers of all time. So, we have Hall of Fame worthy. It's a male, and it's one of Tony Khan's all-time favorite wrestlers. That still, leaves a lot of room for speculation. Of course, first thing people started saying is CM Punk. A lot of people are saying Christian, because even though he made an appearance in the Royal Rumble, he's not under a WWE contract. Mark Henry was another one. Some people even said Brock Lesnar. I highly doubt that, but or Bully Ray was another one. Before the Tony Khan interview came out, when he confirmed that it was a man, people were speculating possibly Lita or AJ Lee. So a lot of names being thrown around, but we'll find out in a few hours here. So me personally, I'm thinking Christian is the most likely, and if not Christian, then possibly Mark Henry. because there is a history between Mark Henry and the Big Show, so that would make sense also. So we'll just have to wait and see for AEW Revolution coming up tonight. So let's get into news and rumors and results and all that fun stuff for for this past week. Starting off on Monday Night Raw, right at the beginning of the show, we had a segment with Drew McIntyre in the ring, and then of course Miz and Morrison had to come out, put their 2 cents in. MVP came out, hyping up Bobby Lashley in the match that was to take place later on in the show. Sheamus, of course, came out, made his presence known. Then this all led to a match between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, which was actually a really, really good match between these two guys, but that doesn't really surprise me for McIntyre and Sheamus, but McIntyre did get the victory in that one. And yeah, we saw another segment with Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon and Adam Pearce. And yeah, this is another one. I don't know where this is going. I mean, it ended up with ended up being a tag team match with Strowman and Pearce teaming together, which of course Pearce ended up getting pinned. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure where this is all heading with Strowman and Adam Pearce, and then Shane McMahon thrown in there. So I'm guessing this is going to play out into some type of WrestleMania storyline. We saw another appearance from Bad Bunny, the 24/7 champion, again accompanying Damian Priest, who picked up a win over Elias. And then we had originally the first attempt at the Lashley versus Miz championship match. As soon as the bell rang, the Miz ran away, just grabbed the title and ran. So that ended up in a countout, and of course MVP and Lashley were not happy about that, and that's when Adam Pearce made the announcement that the match would take place again later in the show, and he said if Miz didn't show up, that he would be stripped of the championship and the title would be awarded to Bobby Lashley. Well, of course, as I talked about earlier, the Miz did show up, and Lashley is your new champion. Charlotte came out and basically said she wants a shot at the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler came out, put a pretty good beating on Charlotte, but Charlotte still managed to pick up a victory over Shayna Baszler, and Shayna Baszler's been taking quite a few pins lately, which kind of surprises me. I mean, I guess it shouldn't, but the way that she was built in NXT to be this just unstoppable monster heel, is just a big contrast to how she's being used on Raw and SmackDown. Mustafa Ali got a win over Matt Riddle, so I would assume that puts him in line for a United States Championship match. We'll probably, if we don't see that at Fastlane next week, then I would assume we'll see that probably at WrestleMania. Getting into some NXT news, going around the rumor mill this week is that NXT will be moving to Tuesdays after WrestleMania, and there's the obvious thing going around now. It's because, AEW's beating them in the ratings every week. Yeah, but also the more business reason that NBC is basically shutting down NBC Sports. So any sporting events that would normally be broadcast on there are going to be moving to the USA Network. So, that's a bit more reasonable explanation for NXT moving to Tuesdays. I mean, yes, AEW was beating them in the ratings, but it's not like NXT was tanking. They were typically, most weeks, they were very, very close as far as viewership goes. So I don't think, it was to the point where NXT has to move or they're going to be canceled or something like that. So I don't think it's anything that dramatic. I think it's just a matter of, they're moving to make room for other sporting events, and it's as simple as that. We found out Wes Lee was injured in the attack by the Grizzled Young Veterans last week, so MSK did not get their tag team title match this week. The match ended up going to Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher in a non-title match, taking on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, which Lorcan and Burch did win that match. That kind of surprised me. I expected Ciampa and Thatcher to come out on top of that one. But we did see Imperium make an appearance on the stage after this match, and I'm pretty sure if they are recruiting, they're looking at Timothy Thatcher was the implication. So last couple of weeks we've seen Imperium kind of observing Timothy Thatcher and Killian Dane, which those would be some big additions to Imperium. Roderick Strong came down to the ring calling out Adam Cole for his actions last week when he attacked Strong. And, of course, Finn Balor came out. That ended up in a brawl between the two of them. And Finn made the announcement that next week on NXT, it would be Balor versus Cole for the NXT Championship. We saw a few segments with The Way, Gargano, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, and and Austin Theory in therapy, because Gargano basically trying to break whatever spell Dexter Lumis has over Indy Hartwell and Austin Theory. Some entertaining little segments in between matches. Then we had the Women's Tag Team Championship match. The winners of the Dusty Cup, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, taking on Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Shayna and Nia retained under some weird circumstances. The referee got knocked down during the match, and Adam Pearce came running out with a Raw referee who got in the ring, and it was very reminiscent of the Montreal Screwjob. I'm sure that was the point, because Dakota Kai ended up, she didn't tap out, but she was not the legal person in the ring. Raquel Gonzalez was, but Shayna Baszler had Dakota in the Kirifuna clutch, and the referee basically came into the ring and just called for the bell, and that was the end of the match. So then later on we saw Pierce and William Regal in a bit of a heated conversation in the back. Couldn't hear what they were saying. They were behind closed doors, but then William Regal did say he will be making a major announcement on NXT this coming week, and the speculation on this is that there's going to be NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, which I'm not sure how much sense that makes. I mean, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships are supposed to be defended across all brands: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, whatever. So for NXT to introduce their own women's tag titles, I don't know, seems odd. We had a promo from the now LA Knight, formerly Eli Drake, and it looks like his first feud in NXT is going to be with Bronson Reed, so that should be interesting. But Cameron Grimes actually did end up getting a win over Reed with a little bit of a distraction from LA Knight. And then in the main event of the show, Finn Balor picked up a win over Roderick Strong in another very good match, but you'd expect nothing less with the two of them. Moving on to a couple of notes from NXT UK. Sam Gradwell got a win over Ilya Dragunov by disqualification. Dragunov actually won the match by referee stoppage, but he continued to beat on Gradwell after the bell. It was just a vicious beating he put on him, and the referee reversed the decision. I'm liking this storyline with Dragunov and Gradwell on NXT UK. So if you're not a regular viewer of NXT UK, go back and check it out. Just at least catch up on this storyline with these two guys, because it's been pretty good with Gradwell just kind of, pushing Dragunov's buttons and getting under his skin, and now we're seeing Dragunov just kind of losing it, as in this match that happened this week. We found out that there's going to be another debut on NXT UK next week for Teoman. We've been seeing a lot of vignettes for him over the last couple of weeks, and next week will be his debut. And in the main event, Kaylee Ray retained the NXT Women's Championship over Meiko Satomura in a fantastic match. I mean, this was almost match of the week. The match was freaking awesome. So I highly recommend anybody go back and check out this match between Kaylee Ray and Meiko Satomura. On Smackdown on Friday, we saw the opening of the show was a promo from Daniel Bryan talking about Roman Reigns. Of course, Roman Reigns had to come out, put in his 2 cents, and Bryan, in the main event of the show, had a cage match against Jey Uso, wherein if Bryan was victorious, he would get a title match at Fastlane, and if not, then the Fastlane main event would be a tag team match with Bryan and Edge taking on Roman and Jey Uso. Saw an interesting segment with the Street Profits. It was supposed to be a tag team match. Street Profits taking on Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. Corbin came out, said he's not a tag team wrestler, so it ended up being 2 singles matches is what it was. But basically Corbin won his match and Sami lost his match. But after Sami took the loss, he was yelling at his documentary crew, and the one member of the crew he was yelling at was actually Blake Christian. So it was kind of cool to see him on Smackdown, even though he got the crap kicked out of him by Sami Zayn. But it was still cool to see Blake Christian on Smackdown. We saw a backstage segment, again, not making a whole lot of sense as far as continuity goes. Buddy Murphy talking to Seth Rollins and offering to help with his Cesaro problem, and Cesaro ended up getting a win over Buddy Murphy, and like I said, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I like the Rollins and Cesaro thing. I don't see the point of inserting Buddy Murphy into it, especially after everything that went on with Buddy Murphy and the Mysterio family and Seth Rollins previously. It's kind of like retconning all of that almost. Talking about the Mysterio family, Dominic actually got a win over Chad Gable, and during the match, Rey Mysterio took out Otis, which was pretty impressive. So looks like that's that feud is going to continue. I'm sure that'll end up in a tag team match. That could end up being a WrestleMania match. Who knows? Carmella fired her sommelier Reginald, who then continued to try to get in the good graces of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, to the point where he almost cost Bianca Belair a victory, but she did pick up a win over Shayna Baszler. Again, Shayna taking a lot of pins lately. At the end of all of that, Sasha basically ended up smacking the shit out of Reginald and telling him to get the hell out. And then another kind of weird segment, Reginald sheepishly leaving the building, gets stopped by Shayna and Nia, and Shayna kind of bullying him a little bit, Nia stepping in and saying, oh, he's kind of cute. So who the hell knows where this one's going? And we saw another appearance from Apollo Crews in his new Nigerian royalty gimmick, which I kind of like. I like the he's got his now he's got his Nigerian elite guard with him. He's changed up his gear. The only thing I'm not 100% keen on is the accent he's using now. He's using a Nigerian accent, which, I mean, he is legitimately of Nigerian descent. I get that, but I don't know, I've never been real fond of the fake accents. I mean, it's very, very old school. I mean, back in the day, you had people doing the fake Russian accents like Nikita Koloff and stuff like that, or stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm just not keen on the fake accents in 2021. I mean, I wasn't even fond of it when Lana was doing it, when she was doing the ravishing Russian gimmicks. So, but it is what it is. Overall, I like Apollo Crews' new gimmick, and he did challenge Big E for a rematch for the Intercontinental title, which I'm sure we're going to see again, probably at WrestleMania, I would assume. I mean, there's no reason they can't drag this one out until then. Daniel Bryan did defeat Jey Uso in that cage match, so he gets a title match at Fastlane coming up next week. And just a couple of quick notes from 205 Live. August Gray and Jake Atlas got a win over Tony Nese and Arya Daivari. And Mansoor continues his winning streak, picking up a win over Kurt Stallion. Again, 205 Live, some very, very good wrestling. Not a lot in the way of storylines. But if you're a fan of the in-ring product and you want to see some guys who don't, get TV time on Raw or SmackDown or even NXT, definitely check out 205 Live. It's worth the watch. So let's move into some AEW news now. The Dark Order and SCU both continued their winning streaks on AEW Dark. And then on Dynamite, the first match out of the gate was Shaq and Jade Cargill taking on Cody and Red Velvet. This match surprised the hell out of me. I did not expect a whole lot out of this. Definitely didn't expect a whole lot out of Shaq. But they put out there before the show even went on, this is going to be the best celebrity wrestling match you've ever seen. And it very well could have been. I mean, Shaq did very well for himself. He didn't go out there and try to do a bunch of crazy stuff. He worked like a big man, power stuff. Didn't spend a whole lot of time in the ring. Actually saw him hit a power bomb on Cody Rhodes, which was very cool because he did a little tribute to Brody Lee right before he hit the power bomb. And a little bit later in the match, we saw Shaq take a bump through 2 tables. He was standing on the apron. Cody hit him with the crossbody, and he went, straight back through both tables. So I was very impressed with Shaq. But Shaq and Jade Cargill did get the victory in that one. Jade ended up getting the pin on Red Velvet. Afterwards, Shaq did do a stretcher job. They took him out on the gurney, put him in the ambulance, and Shivani went back to check on him a couple minutes later, and he was gone. He just disappeared from the ambulance. So not sure where that's going to lead to. If we're going to see Shaq back in AEW anytime soon, if they're going to pick this up, I'm sure they'll pick it up at some point, but who knows when? Because AEW. Their thing is they play the long game. They do the long-term storytelling, which I like. So, I'm sure there's going to be some type of continuation of this somewhere down the line. We saw another press conference from the Inner Circle, which was pretty entertaining. You had Conrad Thompson pop up and Eric Bischoff, and of course MJF had to call Conrad turkey tits, and it was just I find the Inner Circle very entertaining. And then all of this was interrupted by the Young Bucks, and it just broke down into a big brawl, and which ended with the Bucks putting Santana and Ortiz through tables with some help from the Good Brothers. Then we had that awesome match with Tully and FTR taking on the Jurassic Express. Just a great match. We saw the return of Shawn Spears during that match, posing as like a camera guy or a grip or something, interfered in the match, and that's really what got the victory for Tully and FTR. And then afterwards we see, all of them in the ring: Tully, FTR, Shawn Spears, J.J. Dillon, and from the entrance tunnel, Arn Anderson made an appearance and kind of gave his endorsement, threw up the sign of the 4 Horsemen to FTR and Shawn Spears and Tully and JJ. So we are starting to see the seeds being planted for the reemergence of the 4 Horsemen, and I'm liking it so far. FTR has to be part of that group. They have to. If FTR is not part of whatever this new 4 Horsemen is going to be, it's not going to work. That's my opinion. But FTR and Shawn Spears, there's one piece of the puzzle missing, and I really honestly think there's only 2 people who could fill that spot. One is Cody Rhodes, and I'm not sure they want to go that route because the Horsemen versus Rhodes, that there's just too much history there. There's too much to play off of there. I want to see Arn Anderson turning on Cody Rhodes, and I want to see that 4th member be Hangman Page. That's what I want to see. Hangman Page, Shawn Spears, and FTR. That is who I want to see as the new 4 Horsemen. Is that how it's going to happen? I don't know. I'm getting a little ahead of myself I'm getting into the fantasy booker here, but that's my take on it. Then we had that promo from Paul White talking about the new signing, the Hall of Fame worthy signing coming at Revolution. Ryo Mizunami actually defeated Nyla Rose, which I think came as a surprise to a lot of people, but now Ryo gets the women's championship match at Revolution, and we saw a stare down and a couple of stiff forearms going back and forth between Ryo and the AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida. So I'm expecting that to be a very good match. And we saw another promo from Sting. Of course, Team Taz had to come out and say their piece. Darby Allin made his appearance again, building up that big street fight coming up. Max Caster defeated 10 of the Dark Order with some interference from Jack Evans, so he gets a spot in the Face of the Revolution ladder match at the pay-per-view. And it turns out Jack Evans was actually paid off by Matt Hardy to interfere in that match, to cost 10 that match. So Hardy, making good on his promise to take out the Dark Order. Hangman Page and John Silver from the Dark Order defeated Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn of Private Party, and then Hardy just went on the attack afterwards against Hangman Page. The Dark Order, of course, ran out to make the save, and then we saw all of the tag teams that are going to be taking part in the Casino Tag Team Royale at the pay-per-view come out, and the show just ended in a big brawl. We saw a really good video package about the exploding barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, and surprisingly, Atsushi Onita was part of that video. Now, if you're not familiar with Onita, he's really the innovator of the exploding barbed wire death match. I mean, that's what he was famous for back in FMW in Japan. So it was a really cool video. It's on their YouTube channel. I'm sure it's going to be shown, before the match coming up at the pay-per-view tonight. So I'm sure everybody will get to see that. And then there was a special edition of Dark last night on Saturday. Kip Sabian and Miro just viciously attacked Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy, and Miro hit Cassidy with a nasty-looking Machka kick, or whatever he's calling it nowadays. And, Cassidy just looked like he was not in good shape. So the implication was that he is not going to be able to compete at the pay-per-view, which leaves Chuck Taylor on his own against Sabian and Miro. Big Swole came out and gave a bit of an angry promo about the women's division and the women's tournament, which she was not a part of, but she's the number one ranked contender in AEW. So basically she's saying, whoever wins that women's title match coming up at the pay-per-view, she's next. So Big Swole putting her name out there as the number one contender for the women's world title. So I'm definitely interested to see that match with whoever wins the women's title tonight. We saw a really good promo from Jake the Snake Roberts and Lance Archer, talking about the ladder match, building that up, but specifically targeting Cody Rhodes, which goes back to when Jake first came in. That was his first target, was Cody Rhodes. And Cody and Lance have had some matches, and now it's coming back around. So look for Archer to be focused in on Cody during this ladder match coming up. And then we also saw the Butcher and the Blade attacking Bear Country. Again, this building towards that Casino Tag Team Royale. I will break down the whole card coming up here in just a few minutes, but for right now, let's move on to some Impact news. Ace Austin is the number one contender for the X Division Championship. He won that triple threat match this week. Sami Callihan, he was at Trey Miguel's wrestling school, and of course Trey wasn't there, and Sami proceeded to put a beating on some of his students and the instructors. So this, again, building this rivalry between Trey and Sami. I can't wait to see this match whenever it happens. The Good Brothers and Finjuice got a win over Reno Scum and Triple XL, but not without their share of infighting and things like that, and that ended up resulting in a match being signed between those two teams, the Good Brothers and Finjuice, for at Sacrifice for the Tag Team Championship. So that should be a damn good match. We saw videos from Moose and Rich Swann hyping up their match at Sacrifice, which is coming up on the 13th, and that will be for the Impact Championship. Eddie Edwards got a win over Brian Myers via disqualification. This was interesting because Matt Cardona was the referee, but Myers, I guess because Cardona was the ref, thought he could get away with some stuff. He loaded up his elbow pad and hit Edwards with a big clothesline, all right in front of Cardona, and Cardona called for the bell. He's like, "Nah, I saw you do it, man. I can't, I can't let that slide." So a lot of tension between Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, and Deonna Purrazzo got a win over Jordan Grace and Kiera Hogan to retain the Knockouts Championship. And at the end of that match, ODB came out and put a beating on Deonna, and it looks like she's going to be getting a Knockouts Championship match coming up at Sacrifice on the 13th. Some MLW news. Los Parks retained the tag team titles against Contra with a little bit of help from Injustice. Of course, Injustice, Myron Reed, and Jordan Oliver been having a lot of issues with Contra lately. We saw another segment with Alicia Atout and Selena De La Renta. This is my favorite rivalry in wrestling right now, as crazy as that sounds. I mean, if you follow the two of them on social media and YouTube and that kind of thing, the two of them, their arguments or promos or whatever you want to call them, and their trash talking online and their interactions on MLW, it's freaking great. I mean, and just check it out. Look them both up on Twitter and look up Alicia Atout's YouTube page, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it is my favorite rivalry in wrestling right now is Alicia Atout and Selena De La Renta. But the point of this was Selena is apparently going after the National Openweight title currently held by Alexander Hammerstone. So I would guess it would be Mil Muertes going after that, and a match between Muertes and Hammerstone. Yes, give me that all day long. I can't wait to see that one whenever it happens. We saw the return to MLW of Powerrr, picked up a just resounding victory in his return, and said he wants a match with Mil Muertes. That's another one that I'd love to see that. And Jacob Fatu retained the World Heavyweight Championship against Jordan Oliver. At the end of that one, we saw Contra come out and all of Contra Unit come out, put a beat down on Oliver and Myron Reed. They were putting them in body bags until Calvin Tankman made the save, and he made it clear he wants the World Heavyweight Championship currently held by Jacob Fatu. Moving into some Ring of Honor news, had a couple of really good matches this week. Kenny King and Dragon Lee are your new Ring of Honor World Tag Team champions. They got the win over Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal in what was supposed to be a Pure Rules tag team match, which was really good up until the very end. Dragon Lee behind the referee's back threw a closed fist punch, which is against the rules in a Pure Rules match, in case you didn't know. And so Kenny King and Dragon Lee are your new Ring of Honor World Tag Team champions, and Roosh retained the World Heavyweight the Ring of Honor World Championship against Shane Taylor with a little help from Kenny King and a chair. So Roosh still Ring of Honor World Champion. A couple of notes on New Japan here. El Desperado is your new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. He picked up that title in a triple threat match against ELP and Bushi. And the title was vacant due to Takahashi having to relinquish the title due to a pectoral injury. He is out for, I believe it was 6 months. So he did forfeit the championship. So the new junior heavyweight champion is El Desperado. Some more NWA news. This past week, all of the NWA content was removed from their YouTube channel, which led to a lot of speculation about NWA possibly going out of business and things like that. Turns out they're actually moving to Fight TV. So that's why all the videos were taken off of YouTube. Apparently they're going to be moving to Fight, and it's going to be part of a subscription bundle. And from what I read, the subscription is going to be $4.99 a month, I believe. And they're going to be having their first pay-per-view in quite some time, coming up on March the 21st. It's called Back for the Attack, and Powerrr will be starting up again on March the 23rd, and again, that will be part of that subscription bundle for, supposedly it's supposed to be for $4.99 a month, so I'm sure there'll be an announcement made on that the closer that we get to that date. So let's get into AEW Revolution coming up later on tonight. It's another stacked card from AEW, and I cannot wait to see this pay-per-view myself. For the tag team championships, the Young Bucks are defending against the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho and MJF, with Wardlow, of course. It's hard to say in this one, because I could see Jericho and MJF taking the tag team titles, but I could also see the Bucks retaining due to some kind of dissension among the Inner Circle, because I honestly believe the Inner Circle is going to be splitting up sometime soon. Within the very near future, I would say the next couple of months. So this could be kind of the catalyst of that. I mean, we already had Sammy Guevara leave the Inner Circle. This could be where we see him come back and cost MJF and Jericho the championships, and just kind of start the dismantling process of the Inner Circle, or it one way or another, it's going to end up with Chris Jericho leaving the Inner Circle and MJF taking control, or something along those lines. That's how I see it playing out. So that one's kind of a toss-up, but my gut's telling me go with the Bucks retaining and some kind of weird something going on with the Inner Circle. Then we've got the street fight with Team Taz, represented by Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, taking on Darby Allin and Sting. I cannot wait to see this match. I don't care if it's actually in the ring or if it's pre-recorded and it's in the parking lot or what. I don't care. I can't wait to see this match. These are four of my favorite current wrestlers, especially Sting. I think everybody knows that by now. So, but yeah, for this one, yeah, again, see, with AEW, it's hard to predict sometimes, but I'm gonna actually say I think Cage and Starks may get the win in this one, and because Cage was talking for a while about going after Darby for the TNT Championship. Now I know he already had his title match and he lost it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Cage and Ricky Starks in this one. Just a feeling I got. Then we got the Women's World Championship: Hikaru Shida versus Ryo Mizunami. Yeah, and the winner of this one's going to have to take on Big Swole. I'm going to say Shida's going to retain. I think it's going to be a damn good match. I think it's going to be a hard-hitting match. I think it's going to be one of the better women's matches that we've seen in AEW. But I'm going to go with Hikaru Shida to retain. And then we've got Hangman Page taking on Big Money Matt Hardy in a big money match where the winner will receive the loser's first quarter earnings for 2021. I'm going to go with Hangman Page on this one. I think they're going to start building Hangman Page up again, because when AEW first started up, Page was seemed to be the guy. He was in the first AEW championship match with Jericho and didn't win that one, and then it just he hasn't been really in the title picture since then. He was in a tag team with Kenny Omega. They were tag team champions for a while, and since they lost the titles, I don't know, he hasn't. I don't want to say he hasn't had a clear direction, because he's had the thing with the Dark Order going and things like that, and so I think it's time to start building Hangman Page back up, and I think this is where it starts. So I'm picking Hangman Page against Matt Hardy. Then we've got the Face of the Revolution ladder match, which is Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Pentagon, Lance Archer, Max Caster, and one more person, which is to be announced. So there is a surprise entrant in this. This is not, Tony Khan said flat out, this is not the new signing that Paul White was talking about. So, it could be somebody who's already in AEW, could be a new person debuting, could be somebody who's, been on Dark that they're giving a shot in the, on the main stage. I have to wait and see. But for this one, I think I got to go with Lance Archer on this one. Lance Archer or Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky's been out with an injury, so this is his first match back in a while. So it's one of those two. If I have to pick one, I'm going to say Scorpio, because I think we're going to see the Lance Archer-Cody Rhodes feud kind of get reignited here, because Cody hasn't been part of any kind of major storyline really in a little while, so I think this could be the catalyst for that as well. So I'm going to pick Scorpio Sky for the ladder match. And then we've got Miro and Kip Sabian taking on Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Like I talked about earlier, Cassidy got taken out on Dark just last night on Saturday, so this could end up being a handicap match, but I think I'm going to go with Miro and Kip Sabian on this one. I think they're going to continue to drag this one out a little bit until Trent comes back. So who knows? But I'm going with Miro and Kip Sabian. Then forgot to talk about the pre-show match. Is a women's tag team match. Riho and Thunder Rosa taking on Britt Baker and Rebel. I got to go with Riho and Thunder Rosa on this one. Then we've got the Casino Tag Team Royale, which is kind of like their Casino Battle Royales, where it's a staggered entry. The participants enter every few minutes or whatever, but this time it's tag team, so it will be a team entering every few minutes, so it should be good. As far as picking a winner in this one, I have no idea. I'm not even going to try. There's just too many teams in this one. Possibly SCU. I mean, they did make that statement, if they don't, the next time they lose a match, they're going to split up. I don't know if this type of match actually counts for that, but if it does, then possibly SCU could be the ones to take this one. And then the main event is the exploding barbed wire death match for the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega defending against Jon Moxley. This is going to be brutal and bloody and beautiful. And Kenny Omega put out a tweet with a very crude little drawing that looked like, a 4-year-old drew it, but it was kind of cool, with the rules and the layout of the match. Basically, 3 sides of the ring, the ropes will be wrapped in barbed wire. He said they're making him leave one side unwrapped in case of emergency. And I'm assuming it's going to be the side that's by the stage where the participants enter from. But... 3 sides of the ropes will be wrapped in barbed wire. When somebody's whipped into the barbed wire, it will set off a trigger, which will set off an explosion. There will be platforms or plywood or whatever set up around the ring that are wired with explosives. So if somebody gets slammed onto them, they blow up. And once, from what I understood, once one of those triggers gets tripped, it starts a 30-minute timer, at the end of which pretty much everything blows up. So, really traditional style, Japanese style death match going on here. I can't wait to see this, especially with these two guys who are, they're not just strictly deathmatch wrestlers. I mean, Moxley's had his share of death matches on the indies before he joined WWE, but, both of these guys can actually wrestle too. So you're going to see some wrestling, you're going to see some fighting, and you're going to see some explosions and some barbed wire and blood. And yeah, this is going to be a good match. So so just to run it back down, I got the Young Bucks retaining over the Inner Circle, Team Taz defeating Darby Allin and Sting, Hikaru Shida retaining over Ryo Mizunami, Hangman Page defeating Matt Hardy, Scorpio Sky winning the ladder match, Miro and Kip Sabian beating Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. SCU, I guess, would be my pick for the Casino Tag Team Royale. Riho and Thunder Rosa defeating Britt Baker and Rebel. And I'm going to say Kenny Omega is going to retain the World Championship against Moxley. I just have a feeling because, you got Don Callis there. The Good Brothers, I'm sure, will be lurking around somewhere. So I'm going to pick Kenny Omega to retain. So that is my preview and predictions for AEW Revolution. Just got a couple of little miscellaneous notes here. Big Cass returned to the ring at an indie show this past weekend. It looked to be in pretty damn good shape, and there's even a rumor floating around that there may be some interest from WWE. Don't know how much truth there is to that because that rumor's been... was out there before and was addressed directly by Triple H, said no, it's not going to happen. But Big Cass made his return, and Enzo Amore was there as well. So they did appear together at that show. So we'll have to see. So that's and then a couple other sad notes from this past week. There were actually 2 other wrestlers who passed away. Former WWE Tag Team Champion Dean Ho was tag team champions with Tony Garea back in the day. Dean Ho did pass away as well, and so did Buddy Colt, former NWA North American champion, passed away as well this past week. So that's going to do it for news and rumors and results for the week. So right now I'm going to throw it over to Charlie G, and he is here with the Indie Cut.
Thank you, Tom, and hey, the wrestling friends. I am Charlie G with this week's Indie Cut. There's a lot to get through, so let's begin with Friday, February 26th, in Bad Out Championship Wrestling from Victoria, Australia. So you are now on the map. For the BCW Battle Express title, champion Mitch Waterman defeated Cletus. Mick Moretti defeated Mad Dog. And for the BCW Heavyweight title, champion Nick Burry defeated Gabriel Wolf. Here in the States, to Pro South Wrestling and Piedmont, Alabama. For the PSW All Out title, champion Brandon Watley defeated Shane Mako by DQ, and William Huckabee defeated Trevor Aon. Down to CMLL for a match between Angel Dororo El Terrible and Nebula Roja defeating Mystico, Valente, and Mephisto. So nice to see CMLL back doing a little bit of wrestling. On to Saturday, February 27th. My favorite Tokyo Oshi Pro, still in their Winter Lovers tour. Miri Miyumi defeated Ariso Endo. Hyper Misao defeated Hiro Neko and Marika Kobashi. In a 6-woman tag, Hikari Noa, Mahiro Kiru, and Sina Shiori defeated Miyu Watanabe, Moka Miyamoto, and Suzumi. In a tag match, Nadeka Tenma and Yuki Ayano defeated Pam Harajuku and Raku. And in the 8-woman tag, Mizuki and Yuka Sakazaki team with Rika Tatsumi and Soka Nakajima to defeat Maki Ito, Miyu Yamashita, Nao Kakuta, and Yuki Kamafuku. Good show once again by Tokyo Oshi Pro. And of course, the main event was fun. On to Stardom, Nagoya 2 days, day 1. So this was Tam Nakano defeating Gokigen Death in a 3-way elimination 9-woman tag match. This was an interesting match to watch. Zumi, Momo Watanabe, and Saya Kamatani defeated Himeka, Maika, and Natsupoi, as well as Konami, Natsuka Tora, and Saki Kashima. Utami Hayashita defeated Ruaka. Mayu Uotani defeated Lady C. That was a really good match. B. Priestley defeated Starlight Kid. That was a heavy hitting match. And the Kabuki 7-match Trial Series 7th match. Siri defeated Unagi Sayaka with 2 seconds left to go in the time limit. So that was a fun and very good match between those two. And in a New Generations 5-match series, the first match was Julia defeating Saya Ida. Another awesome show by Stardom, so check that out if you can. Down to Australian wrestling superstars, Bexley Bash from Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. So you are now also on the map. For the AWS tag titles, champions Goran Uriel Nikolov and Lucius Wolf defeated Falco and Grant Lindstrom. For the AWS heavyweight title, champion DJ Sonic defeated Keegan Brettel and Robbie Zuko. Still in Australia for PWA Black Label, Just Happy to Be Here from New South Wales, Australia as well. Robbie Eagles defeated Aaron Jake. Charlie Evans defeated Cherry Stevens. In a 6-person tag, Zach Bonza, Jessica Troy, and Kingsley defeated Kai Drake, Michael Spencer, and Sam Osborne. Still in Australia, and now in Adelaide, Australia for Riot City Wrestling. In a Key to the City 4-way match, Havoc defeated Adam Brooks, Cody Trey, and Down Under. And for the RCW Women's title, Savannah Summers defeated champion Izzy Shaw and Delta to become new champion. Up to Insane Championship Wrestling, Fight Club 161. You can find that on the WWE Network or Peacock, wherever you're going to get it. Back here to Deer Grove, Illinois, of all places, for Zoa Live, The Legend of Zoa. That's ZOWA. In a boxing match, Ziki Zeshi defeated Arnie. Doc Simmons and Zach Hendricks defeated Bucky Collins and Connor Hopkins. Mr. Havens defeated Rip Studwell. Bailey Bright defeated Damian DeShane. Connor Braxton defeated Mike Hardenbauer. These are Illinois names, that's for sure. Berna defeated Ethan Everhart. J.J. Garrett, of AEW Dark fame, and Judd the Janitor defeated Jay Fowler and Nebraska Bernard. And the main event was Christian Rose defeating 12 Gauge. To Wrestling Against Hunger from Tulsa, Oklahoma, for WA Tag Team titles. El Gringo Loco and Elisha Sparks, who are champions, defeated Brawler Morrison and Giganto, yeah. For the WA title, champion Cody Burns defeated Sam Stackhouse. And in the WA #1 contendership match, Maui Mike defeated Pastor Brent and Samita. Excuse me. To Violence and Suffering, The Violence of the Lambs from Ridge Park, New Jersey. This was on IWTV, so check that out if you can. Jordan Oliver defeated Dante Leon. Kevin Blackwood defeated Lucky 13. In a three-way match, Gabriel Sky defeated Facade and Casey Navarro. Two Cold Scorpio defeated Kent Broadway. That was a really fun match to watch. Jimmy Lloyd defeated Jimmy Jacobs. And that was a bloody match to watch. Brian Cage defeated Matt Cross. So that was Lucha Underground vibes right there. And JTG defeated Mance Warner. And after the match, all madness ensued against JTG. I don't understand it, and I really didn't like the commentators, so I really just watched it on mute. So check it out if you wish. To Unite Wrestling Entertainment from Oklahoma, let's go with that. For the UWE title, champion John Cross defeated Derek James. To Southwest Wrestling Entertainment, East Texas WrestleFest from Carthage, Texas. I would have liked to see this show. There's some names on here, really cool. For the Mission Pro title, champion La Rosa Negra defeated Micah Madrid. For the SWE Women's title, Christy James, who's champion, defeated Malaya Osaka. For the SWE Television title in a gauntlet match, champion Rodney Mack defeated Exotic, Luke Sky, and Pac Ortega. In a singles match, Davey Boy Smith Jr. defeated Matthew Justice. That had to be really good. Miranda Gordy defeated Amber Nova. For the SWE Heavyweight title, champion Charlie Haas defeated Frank Stone. Mil Muertes defeated Tino Valentino. The Boogeyman, of all people, defeated DJ Michaels. For the NWA National title, champion Trevor Murdoch defeated Jeremy Wyatt. And then for the SWE Women's title, once again, Christy James, who's champion, defeated Miranda Gordy by DQ. So double duty for Christy. Then in a singles match, the Blood Hunter defeated Dave Boy Smith Jr. I would have to call that a little bit of an upset, but maybe Davey was a little tired from earlier on. And for the vacant SWE tag titles, Joe Amari and Mike Anthony defeated Bam Bam Malone and Heartthrob Jaden to become new champions. To SOAR Championship Wrestling, Remembering Black Legends of Memphis Wrestling. For the SOAR Young Dragons title, AJ the Future defeated Jake Braddock to become new champion. For the CKW Southern title, champion Lorenix X defeated Danny B. Good. For the OIWA International title, champion Dante Smiley defeated Damian Daystar. And for the SOAR title, DJ Brown defeated champion Nate Lawson to become new champion as well. To Metroplex Wrestling, All That Remains from Bedford, Texas. For the Metroplex Addicts title, champion CJ Ward defeated Jason Silver and Johnny O'Mara. To Lions Pride Sports, Pride Battle and Bryan 3 from Bryan, Texas. And the Lions Pride Sports title match, Barrett Brown defeated champion Nobe Bryant. I'll get that name eventually. To Insane Championship Wrestling, the Insanity Crusade Ford from West Elias, Wisconsin. For ICW tag titles, Doc Simmons and Zach Hendricks, who are champions, defeated CJ Cole and Fletch Malone. For the ICW Alternative title and ICW Midwest title, Double Jeopardy Fatal 4-Way match. And first fall for the ICW Alternative title, Juan Hernandez retained that. And then for the ICW Midwest title, no DQ match, Dysfunction defeated who was Midwest champion Sierra, as well as GQ Gionis to become new champion. And then for the ICW Heavyweight title, Drake Daniels defeated champion Joey Avalon to become the champion there as well. There was a ICW No Holds Barred Volume 10, where Nolan Edward defeated Tony Deppen, and Shane Mercer defeated Neil Diamond Cutter. Later that night, they had a No Holds Barred Pit Fighter 6, where Tony Deppen defeated Gary J, of all things. For the Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, Freakzilla from Cedarburg, Wisconsin. For the GLCW Tag Titles, Adam Grace and Dustin Jackson defeated champions Jeff Buxton and Ryan Cross to become the champion. For the GLCW Tag Titles, I guess in a rematch, Jeff Luxon and Ryan Cross defeated champions Adam Grace and Dustin Jackson to become the champions. And for the GLCW Heavyweight title, champion Backwards Brown defeated Drew Hernandez. To Frontline Pro 24, Justice for All from Marshfield, Wisconsin. A lot of wrestling in Wisconsin these days, huh? Frontline Pro King of the Cruiserweights title, champion Gavin McCoy defeated Justin Dredd. For the vacant Frontline Pro Tag titles, the Dream Warriors won that to become champions. And then for the Frontline Pro Heavyweight title, Coda Jacobs defeated champion Colin Brooks to become new champion. And then Anarchy Wrestling from Cornelia, Georgia. In the Golden Ticket Tournament final match, Will Caution defeated David Ali. That's a lot of Saturday wrestling, right, people? To Sunday, February 28th, Wave Nagoya Volume 20 took place. We'll have to get into that. Stardom Nagoya Day 2. Another great show by them. Ruaka defeated Lady C. Starlight Kid defeated Maika and Saya Ida. Bea Priestley and Konami defeated Himeka and Natsupoi. Then Natsuka Tora and Saki Kashima defeated Gokiken Death and Mai Iwatani. Julia and Siri defeated Tam Nakano and Unagi Sayaka. That was a really good match there. And then Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashita defeated Azumi and Saya Kamatani. A bit of a prelude to their March 3rd show, which I will get to shortly. There was a Sendai Girls Acceleration show, a Pure J show, and then New Japan Castle Attack Day 2, with an attendance of 3,218, so they are kind of putting in a decent audience out there. For the IWGP Tag Titles, champions Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa defeated Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. For the Never Openweight title, champion Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated the Great Okan, who's not that great. For the vacant IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, El Desperado defeated Bushi and El Fantasma to become the champion. That was a stellar match between all three. For the IWGP Intercontinental title, champion Kota Ibushi defeated Tetsuya Naito. And then he will now join the world title and the Intercontinental title at their next big show as a single champion. So, I don't know how you feel about that. But since there's not a lot of travel, I guess there's no Intercontinental title scene really going on. So, that's one way I'm looking at it. There was a Gatomu Choco Pro 92 show where Asha Kong teamed with Emi Sakura. So go check that out on YouTube if you wish. There was a Dove Pro Strong Hearts The Collision Day 2 match show where T-Hawk defeated Shoshi Uchida. And for the Dove Pro Tag Titles, Tita and Yashi, who are champions, defeated Shima and Al Lindemann. There was a Pro Wrestling Diana show on YouTube where Rina Shinigaki defeated Hiroku Umsaki and Kyoko Inoue defeated Jaguar Yokuda, Koda, and Madeline. So check that out as you wish. Then there was DDT Into the Fight 2021. I actually enjoyed this show. Once again, because they are doing more wrestling than comedy spots, except for the match I'm going to start with. For the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal Championship, my favorite championship of all, of course, in a six-way match, the Saki Akai photo book hip shake defeats champions the Young Bucks, killing the business from the backyards to the big leagues. Who was champion? So yes, the book covered the book. It also defeated Antonio Honda, Dansiko Dino, Kazuki Hirata, and Saki Akai, who looked mortified when her book came out, to win the title. So check that out if you can. I want to rewatch it. Hopefully DJ still has it up. In a six-man tag, Hiroshima and Toru Owashi defeated and Yuko Naya defeated Daisuke Sasaki, Mad Pauly, and Nobuo Shimatani. And another six-man tag, Sama Tako, Tetsuya Endo, and Yuji Hino defeated Akito Kensuke, Takeshita, and Yuki Ino. Which is bumping tonight. In a six-man tag, Kasada Higuchi, Yukio Sakaguchi, and Chris Brooks defeated Hideka Okatani, Jun Akiyama, and Makoto Hoshi. And for the DDT Extreme title Kids Room Sauna Count Edition Deathmatch, with the count of 37 total, it's 36. Champion Shunma Katsumata defeated Mao. That was a cool match. A little goofy, of course, because it's Legos and all that other stuff, but still fun nonetheless. Alright, GCW, which is Gold Class Wrestling from Victoria, Australia, Wrestle Rumble 2021. So a lot of GCWs and Warriors, and I don't get all this. Gold Class Wrestle title champion Michiko defeated Joel Bateman. And for the AIWF Australian National Title Rumble match, the winner was Smacks to become new champion. I'm not going through all those other names. To No Peace Underground, Horrors of Survival from Orlando, Florida. This was all no ring death matches, so I did not really watch this. First match was Farrell defeating Tony Deppen with special referee Jordan Oliver. Okay, Ruben Steele defeated Neil Diamond Cutter. Jordan Oliver then defeated Nolan Edward and Wolf Taylor. AJ Gray defeated Shane Mercer. G. Raver defeated Atticus Kogar. In a tag team match, no ropes. Okay, John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley defeated Connor Claxton and Lucky 13. IWA Mid-South, 2 for the Money from Jeffersonville, Indiana. Alice Crowley defeated Thunder Kitty. And for the IWA Mid-South Heavyweight title, champion Jay Chris defeated Nels Garvin. Asylum Wrestling Revolution, Requiem 2 from Indianapolis, Indiana. Cole Radrick defeated Aaron Atlas and Mitch Onyx. Let's see. For AWR Women's title, champion Charlie Cruel defeated Lana Lennox and Max Impaler. In death matches, Madman Pondo defeated Remington Roller. Mickey Knuckles defeated Dale Patricks. And Aiden Blackheart defeated Akira and Phoenix Kid. All-Star Pro Wrestling from Bethany, Oklahoma, Legacy 2021. We got a bunch of title changes. So ASP tag titles, PHOX1 and PHOX2 are new tag champions there. For the Mid-American title, Garcia defeated champion Drake Gallows, Raven, and Warren Powers to become the champions there. For the ASP Women's title, Danny B defeated champion Skylar Slice and Erica to become the champions. And for the ASP title, Kino Valentino defeated champion Double D. On to Monday, March 1st, Wave Nami 1. Koru Yoniyama and Koru defeated Usaka Aoki and Rin Kakura. Then check out Kaligo Pro Wrestling on YouTube for the week. No need to get into all those matches, so I'm going to cut those out this time. To Tuesday, March 2nd, Tokyo Pro, still on their winter tour. I'll just go with the 8-woman tag at the end. Mizuki, Yuki Sakazaki, Rika Tatsumi, and Soka Nakajima defeated Maki Ito, Miyawa Yamashita, Nai Kakuta, and Yuki Kamifuku. Oh, that was actually when it was actually aired, so sorry about that. Dragon Gate, Glorious Gate, Day 1. We'll go with Benkei and Dragon Kid defeating Kenshiro Ari and Ultimate Dragon. Back here in States for Northeast Wrestling, Studio Wars number 8 from Connecticut on the High Spots Network. Mike Verna defeated Richard Holiday. So Richard Holiday's back here in the States, folks. New South Pro Wrestling Action Class number 25 on IWTV. For the New South title, champion Derek Neal defeated Brandon Williams. And in a street fight, Nasty Leroy defeated Adam Priest. We remember that name, Adam Priest, later on. Then to Ohio Valley Wrestling, TV 1125. For the OVW National Heavyweight Title number 1 contenders match and a ladder match, AJZ defeated Omar Amir. Then to Wednesday, March 3rd, the Stardom 10th anniversary show at Nippon Budokan, All-Star Dream Cinderella. This is an awesome show. You can check out the first 2 matches I will talk about on YouTube, and I greatly tell you, watch this. These 2 got us to watch the show for rest of the night and up till 5 o'clock in the morning. So for the first match, it was the high-speed title. So yes, this is spoiler alerts if you don't want to, skip for 2 minutes. For the high-speed title, Natsupoi defeated champion Azumi in an awesome match. And then for the Goddesses of Stardom title, champions Himeka and Maika defeated Natsuka Toro and Saki Kashima. For the main show in the All-Star Rumble, Unagi Sayaka, who lost all 7 of those matches previously, won this Rumble match by eliminating Uzuki Aikawa. They brought back a lot of original Stardom people in this, so it was kind of cool to see. Then we go to Nani Takahashi defeated Momo Watanabe. For the SWA Undisputed Women's title, champion Siri defeated Konami. Really good match there. A little short for my liking, but still good nonetheless. Mayu Iwatani defeated Yoshiko. That was really good. And then for the World of Stardom title, champion Utami Hayashita defeated Saya Kamatani. Yes, they are in the same group together, and they put on an awesome match. And then for the Wonder of Stardom title and hair versus hair match, Tam Nakano saved her hair and defeated champion Julia to become the champion. And as the show ended, Julia looked more like Rhea Ripley. I have not seen how she looks yet. I didn't look it up, but it was an awesome show. Great match between those 2 also. So check that out if you can. On to Real Japan Pro Wrestling, Strong Style Pro Wrestling Volume 9. Kendo Kashin defeated Masakatsu Funaki. There was a Dragon Gate Glorious Gate Day 2 show. There was a DDT Boys Hunamatsuro edition. There was an 18-man Battle Royal where Toru Owashi won that. For Limitless the Road Season 3, Episode 2, back here in Maine, Masa Slamovich defeated Travis Huckabee. To Thursday, March 4th, New Japan Pro Wrestling 49th Anniversary Show at Nippon Budokan, where they drew 3,026, where the day before, Stardom drew 3,318. So yes, Stardom, an all-women's promotion, outdrew New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's exciting, to say the least. They started the New Japan Cup, first round matches, so Jeff Cobb defeated Satoshi Kojima. The Great Okan defeated Tatsuya Naito by referee's decision. That's the only way he's going to beat Naito on that. And then for the IWGP Heavyweight title and Intercontinental title, champion Kota Ibushi defeated El Desperado. A really good match there. Dragon Gate Glorious Gate Day 3 took place. there was an Enjoy Can Heat episode 2 from Pennsylvania on YouTube for Enjoy Cup title. First round matches, Still Life Apricots and Pears defeated Ziggy Ham, and Lee Moriarty defeated Solo Darling. I've not seen that yet, but I'm sure that was a good match. And then there was Beyond the Signature Series, episode 2. In the tournament for tomorrow, first round match, Edith Sorrell and St. Jackson DuPont defeated Bobby Orlando and Bryce Donovan. For the Greatest Rivals Round Robin Challenge, Matt Makowski got his win, defeating Wheeler Yuta. For Great Lakes Wrestling Association, Vendetta number 9. For Race for the Case, qualifying match, Caesar Asher defeated Jarvis Gray. IWA Mid-South Schools Inn from Jeffersonville, Indiana. Congo Kong defeated Dewey Wellington. For the IWA Mid-South Junior Heavyweight title, Kevin Giza defeated champion Blake 182 to become the champion there. And in the Mid-South Heavyweight title match, champion Jake Chris defeated Colin Delaney. So, keep that name in mind later on. There was Paradigm Pro Wrestling No Hook number 4. For the MidwestTerritory.com interim title chain match, Calvin Tankman defeated champion Ken Broadway to become new champion. There was a Pro Wrestling Vision from Orlando, Florida show on Twitch TV. I could not find their show, but if you find it, check it out. It's where they had the SCW Florida Heavyweight title. Champion Deion James defeated Alan Valley. To Friday, March 5th, New Japan Cup Day 1. First round matches, Toru Yano defeated Balak Fale by countout, and Hiroki Goto defeated Taichi. Westside Extreme Wrestling is back in action from Germany. We Love Wrestling number 3, where they had a catch Grand Prix rules match of Marius Ayani defeated Leon Van Getsen in round number 5. New South Pro Wrestling Hoss Tournament Day 1. They had a tag team battle royal where the winner was the Talladega Knights of Hunter Drake and Tyler Franks. And for the House Tournament first round matches, I'll go through a few. Colin Delaney defeated Manders. Sean Christopher defeated Matthew Justice. O'Shea Edwards defeated Nolan Edward. And Adam Priest defeated Davey Boy Smith Jr. I call that an upset, especially when Adam Priest lost a couple days ago and Davey Boy Smith won 1 and lost 1. So, a little weird there. New Japan Strong number 30. Rollin' the Strong Style Evolve 2021. Where they're holding the New Japan Cup USA edition. So Tom Lawler defeated DKC, and Leo Rush defeated Rocky Romero to qualify. On to earlier today, Saturday, March 6th, there was a Pro Wrestling Women's Assembly Show, Volume 3. Seemed like a agglomeration of all women's wrestling from around Japan, because we had Murray and Mei Hoshisuzuki defeat Mio Momono and Rin Kakuta. And then they had Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid defeat Azumi and Momo Watanabe. Then a show I actually did watch, Tokyo Pro Changed the Wind Direction, where they kept up their No Princess Max Heart tournament. Semi-final matches were Mei St. Michelle and Saki Sama defeated Hikaru Noah and Sina Shiori, and Maki Ito and Miya Yamashita defeated Hyper Misao and Soka Nakajima. That was a good match. So the finals was Mei St. Michelle and Saki Sama defeating Maki Ito and Miya Yamashita to win the tournament. And a fun match. Check that out if you can. And then also, just a couple hours ago, I checked out Hybrid Wrestling on YouTube. Pretty good show. It led up to what the GCW Take Care show later on today, where Joey Janela puts up his spring break rights against Ricky Shane Page for his title. So, see how that goes out later on. I'll update you on that next week. Little gaming news, WrestleMania, which I publicized last year and earlier this year. Hopefully it was going to come out last week. It only came out on Steam, of all things, so it should come out for the consoles and computer in the next week or two, hopefully. I'm waiting. Just be patient. They'll get those stuff together. But check out their Twitter for instant updates. That's it for me. Until next time, with more shows from around the wrestling world, including that GCW show and the Haas Finals winner. Don't forget to look at those Twitch streams, which is Catch, Hook, and Shoot at the moment. YouTube channels for us or other wrestling content. Thank you for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed the cut. Keep safe, take care, and be kind, everyone. Back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Charlie. So let's keep it rolling right along into the next segment of the show where I get to play Armchair Promoter. We are continuing with the CHS Catch, Hook, and Shoot Wrestling, my own little fantasy league here, and I am doing that in the Fantasy Booker. Alright, so this week in CHS Wrestling, we are crowning the first ever CHS Men's World Champion. And if you remember from last week, I broke down how the match to crown the first champion is going to work. It's a little bit of a twist on the Warrior Wrestling War of Attrition match. It's going to start off as a 5-on-5 tag team match. And the two teams drawn at random for this match are Jonathan Gresham, Darby Allin, Trey Miguel, Jungle Boy, and MJF, taking on Pete Dunne, Tommy End, or Aleister Black, whatever you want to call him, Hangman Page, and Killer Cross. So now, for the first round of this match, this 5-on-5 tag team match, the winners that I'm picking for this one are the team of Gresham, Allin, Miguel, Jungle Boy, and MJF. Just with MJF on that team, there's going to be some shenanigans going on, some sneaky, underhanded stuff, even with guys like Jungle Boy and Trey Miguel to kind of counteract MJF's stuff. I think he still pulls something out of his hat and ends up somehow MJF ends up getting the pin in this one on Hangman Page, is how I would book this one to end. So that's going to eliminate Pete Dunne, Tommy End, Hangman Page, and Killer Cross. So the remaining 5, MJF, Jungle Boy, Trey Miguel, Darby Allin, and Jonathan Gresham, will be split into 2 teams. And, you know what? I'm very sorry. The second team, I only named 4 guys. Pete Dunne, Tommy End, Hangman Page, Killer Cross, and Brian Pillman Jr. was the 5th member of that team. Sorry about that, but either way, the result is the same. MJF gets to pick the teams for the second round, and of course, he's going to pick a 3-person team for himself to give himself the advantage. So his team will consist of MJF, Jonathan Gresham, and Trey Miguel, taking on Darby Allin and Jungle Boy. And again, I believe that MJF would pull out every trick in the book, or no, not necessarily hide, because he's going to want to make sure he wins this match. But I've got this one with MJF, Jonathan Gresham, and Trey Miguel getting the win over Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, which will move them to a final round, which is a triple threat elimination match. And now this is where I can see MJF just kind of hanging back, not getting involved, and letting Gresham and Trey Miguel go at each other, which that's a match I'd love to see. Jonathan Gresham versus Trey Miguel. That would be freaking awesome. But in the end, the first CHS Men's World Champion will be MJF. I just see him, pulling out all the stops, pulling every trick in the book, and just weaseling his way to victory to be the first CHS Men's World Champion. So that is how it is booked. So MJF is the first ever CHS Men's World Champion. So coming up next week, I will get into the Women's World Championship. But for now, we're going to move on to the next segment of the show, where I've been counting down my top 10 WrestleMania moments, and I'm doing that in the Weekly Hot Take. All right, so we are up to number 6 on my countdown of my top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. And this week, in at number 6, comes from WrestleMania 3, 1987. It was the main event, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. This is the match that sold out the Pontiac Silverdome. This is the match that put those 93,000 people, or whatever it was, in the building. It was the biggest wrestling match ever at the time. Andre the Giant, one of the most beloved wrestlers ever in the 70s and early to mid 80s. His heel turn basically turned the whole wrestling world on its ear at that time, because it was so unexpected to see Andre the Giant turn heel and align with Bobby the Brain Heenan and then challenge Hogan for the championship. And as far as technical wrestling, that wasn't even the point of this. So you can't. This match in particular cannot be judged on its technical merits. This match is just judged on pure spectacle and star power, because you had the two biggest wrestling stars of the era, and this was just it was a dream match at that time, is what it was. And Hogan has said many times that's the night that Andre the Giant passed him the ball, because Andre the Giant was the man. He went to literally every territory, every promotion around the world, and sold out wherever he went, because people just wanted to get a look at him. So that is my number 6 pick for my top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time in the weekly hot take: Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, 1987. So that is going to wrap things up for this week. Coming up next week, I will have the results of AEW Revolution. I will have preview and predictions for Fastlane. I'll also be going over Impact Wrestling's Sacrifice event that's coming up next weekend as well. Until then, I want to thank everybody once again for watching, listening, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure to check out the website. It's catchhookshoot.com. You can find everything about the show there, including the shop with all of the new merchandise on there. I really hope you guys will check it out, because I'm like I said, I'm really proud of all the merchandise I put out. I designed it all myself. I designed the website myself. So check, give it a look. All the podcasts are there, all the interviews, all the videos, everything. So it's catchhookshoot.com. Head over there and check it out. Make sure you're following on social media on all platforms at catchhookshoot. Head to patreon.com/catchhookshoot for all your bonus content. ProWrestlingTees.com/catchhookshoot for t-shirts that are only available on Pro Wrestling Tees. And you can find links to all that and more at linktree/catchhookshoot. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So with that, I am going to sign off. Hope everybody has a great week. Enjoy Revolution. Enjoy all the other great wrestling that's coming up this week. And I will talk to you guys soon.